Hello, I'm Egil Thorsson. I'm a warrior, trader and a storyteller. Today I'm going to be telling you about the lives of women in the Viking Age. But don't forget, press the subscription bell there and we'd love to hear from you. This is a general overview. So when we talk of Vikings, people think of long-haired maniacs leaping out of long ships, killing monks and generally being unpleasant. That's only 50% of the population. We of course must remember the women. If you see any Viking films, they're all screaming and fainting. That's not the case. The Viking woman had to be a very special kind of individual. I won't say they had better rights, they had different rights. So when the Viking men went off raiding, or a Viking, it was the woman who looked after the children and themselves. They would use weapons at hand, the langseax, the all day, everyday weapon, the sabatier of the Dark Ages. Axes, they too were farm implements and readily available. And I think it'd be a pretty crazy bloke who would attack a house with a woman and children in it. Did Viking women fight? That's a debate that's still raging. I can only give you my personal view, is that there probably were some. After all, where did the image of the Valkyrie come from? And women can fight just as well as men. They use their heads more rather than strength. They have to be more tactical, but doesn't stop them from raiding. So, the everyday housewife, eh? Well, housewife was a social rank. And this was denoted that from their belts were three keys. The keys to the house, the keys to the treasure chest, and the keys to the food. Her word was implicit in that household. If she said that person isn't coming in, they didn't come in. And that could include kings, Njals, or whatever. What else did she do? Well, she was the one who passed on herb lore. She found the right herbs, knew how to treat wounds. She also taught the family the history. She was also, and more importantly, known as a peace weaver. Bear in mind, you have people of our social rank here, too much money, too much drink, too much mouth. And she would part them and create cordiality between the two. Very important thing. She also checked to make sure everybody who did the spinning that it was right. If it wasn't, she'd bat you. Everybody had to spin. Now if you think these trousers here, there's 13 miles of thread in there. Has to be spun, has to be dyed, has to be woven. Housewife would look after all that. Now this is just day to day. Could she indulge in business? Only to a limited amount, and that was 3/4 of an ounce of silver. So it's basically saying any big business had to be conducted through the men. She wasn't allowed to give oaths in court. So it's bringing a bit like today. But she was able to run the farm. She was also able to choose her husband. What would happen is she would go to her father of the house and say, look, I fancy Olav, that's great. They'd meet. He wasn't allowed to write poetry or give her love tokens. It was considered that there could be spells and runes on it. So they were married. The father of the house would marry them, and as Christianity progressed, they would say, hold the ceremony in front of the church. Then they go into the vestry, and then in front of the altar. So as it go through time, it became more solemnised. They would then, the bride would then be given a horn of mead. She would drink this for a fortnight, and this is where we get honeymoon from. Now marriage is a bit like a Christmas present. Looks very nice, pretty ribbon, all that pretty paper. When you undo it, you get a pair of socks. So marriage itself needs, you've got to have the chance to get out of it. And this is the case in the Viking Age. There are two ways you can do it. First of all, you go to the marketplace on a market day, the wife, in front of the crowd goes, I divorce thee, I divorce thee, I divorce thee. Job's a good one. Or, she could get her husband's clothes, dress up as a man, and he could wear a hanger-rock and they go to the market. That didn't endow towards the church a bit, but it was looked on as divorce. Rolling up your sleeves, showing body hair was another reason to, or having a tunic or skeleton that was open. So you see, it's a very different thing. Now, a number of factors. If you had red hair, you're considered lucky, hence Leif Erikson. We'll deal with him later. But red hair was a sign, because Thor, god of farmers and everyday men, had red hair. If you were a red-headed woman, you could pick anybody because you're considered lucky. If, however, you got married and your husband died, you were very sought after, because you could run a farm, you owned a farm, and you could run a household. All valuable things to have. So you could pick your own future husband, should you want one. So, divorce settlements, what would that happen? Well, the children from any marriage would go and live with the wife. The wealth would be split in half to the wife, half to the husband. And that would be it. There'd be no quibbling about alimony or anything else like that. That was the way things were then. So is it better then to be a woman then or today? I don't know. You better ask a woman that one, because I'm not a woman. But I hope I've answered some of your questions, and we'd like to hear from you. So please leave a comment so that we can look at what's there. And I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll be doing other things like this later on. So until we meet again, bye.